Discretion is advised. So Mama Black.
This program contains language and sequences some viewers may find disturbing.
That developing story tonight, 2 people shot. Police in Spartanburg are still looking for at least 1 gunman. Our Nicole Smith has been standing by at the scene of this shooting, getting the very latest details on it. Nicole, what do we know?
Well, Gordon, the shooting happened at Crown Point Apartments off Powell Mill Road, so that's on Spartanburg's west side. And within the last few minutes, we learned the names of the victims, those shooting victims, and that police are still looking for the shooter or shooters at this hour. Take a look at what that scene looked like earlier this evening. That's when Spartanburg police responded to the call for a shooting around 7 p.m. or just before 7 p.m. And police tell us 2 people have been shot, 1 in the leg and the other was found lying on the ground with a gunshot wound to the chest. They've been identified as 20-year-old Christian Thomas and 23-year-old LeBrian Thomas. Both were taken to the hospital by EMS. An investigator on the scene here tells me the leg injury does not seem to appear to be life-threatening, but there's still no word of the condition of that other victim. Investigators are looking for at least 1 shooter. The Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit was also out here helping with that search earlier this evening. Now back here live after talking with neighbors, they say this is scary for something like this to happen right near their homes, but their main concern right now is that whoever is responsible is caught as soon as possible. If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Spartanburg Police Department or Crime Stoppers. Reporting live in Spartanburg tonight, Nicole Smith, 7 News.
No safe haven no more. I mean, I don't see how anybody was brave enough to come up to school to kill someone, and I mean, it's crazy.
Who killed a 28-year-old father just moments after he dropped his 5-year-old son off at school? It happened around 8:10 this morning outside Mark Twain Elementary Middle School in southwest Detroit. The victim had just walked his son inside the school and then walked out and got back in his car.
I seen him. I'm walking in, he walking out, because you have to bang on the door to let your kid in. So as I'm walking out, he's coming in. I mean, as I'm walking in, he's coming out. I'm like, thank you. He's like, you're welcome. That's the last time I seen him.
And when the dad got back inside his car that was parked on Fort Street near Visker, a man who was inside the car shot and killed him. Question now is, did that man just get in the back seat, or had he already been in the car with the father as he drove to the school, then waited for him to drop his son off to kill him, and then take off on foot?
He was wearing a bright orange hoodie. He's about 5'8", 180 pounds, African-American, medium complected. That's all we know now.
Police say Marlon Johnson was drunk and racing when he was behind the wheel right here on Willis Church Road back in Henrico reporter Ashley Montfort is live tonight. She spoke with one of the victims' family members. What are they saying, Ashley?
Yeah, I spoke to the father of the young mother who was killed in this crash, and he tells me it's about time that these charges were placed. Now, the driver, Marlon Johnson, I found out wasn't supposed to be behind the wheel in the first place. Balloons, flowers, and cards attempt to cover up the debris left behind from a deadly crash on Willis Church Road. 5 months ago, 2 people, 24-year-old Gary Atkins and 22-year-old Jessica Bradby, were killed here. When police say the driver, Marlon Johnson, hit this tree. Neighbors tell me Bradby's family was just here because she would have celebrated a birthday. And this memorial is growing. There's even a wreath here that says Mom because she leaves behind a 1-year-old. Police say Johnson was racing. He is now charged with 2 counts of DUI and voluntary manslaughter. And according to court records, his blood alcohol level was 0.13%, almost double the legal limit. Court records show this was also his second DUI, and he was driving with a revoked license.
It's a death that's completely preventable.
Chris Konchak with the group's Mothers Against Drunk Driving says incidents like this one should be a wake-up call to other people. In the past 12 months, there have been several deadly drunk driving accidents, Every victim was a passenger in the car.
And a sober driver isn't the least drunk in the group. It's someone who hasn't been drinking.
And in many cases, the driver has a history of being under the influence while behind the wheel.
Does Matt think there needs to be tougher penalties for the first time somebody is caught with a DUI?
If you started giving out the higher penalties, word would travel quickly that that's what happens when you get a DUI, and we think that a lot of people would stop the activity pretty quickly if they had to pay $2,000 versus $250.
Yeah, and Matt says with the Super Bowl weekend coming up, it's expected that there will be a spike in the number of people who get behind the wheel and drive drunk. They are reminding people, if you plan to drink that weekend, to have a designated driver, and if you know of an intoxicated driver who's behind the wheel, to call police.
Say they're too distraught to talk on camera, but say their loved one, 21-year-old Gerard Green, isn't some murder stat. He's a loving father of 4, 2 daughters, 2 sons that will never grow up with their father. Early Thursday morning,
Pow, 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 pow.
Valerie Good's alarm clock is replaced by the crack of gunshots.
Laying up in my bed. I was laying up in my bed, and next thing I know, I just heard 5 shots.
Crime Insider sources say the victim fell in front of his sister's door here in the 4200 block of Chamberlain Avenue. Family members say minutes before, 21-year-old Gerard Green was visiting with his mom at an apartment about 3 buildings away.
It is going to be considered the city's 6th homicide.
Green is a father of 4. 2 daughters and 2 sons will now have to grow up without a dad. Crime Insider sources say the motive for murder is unclear, but there was arguing prior to shots being fired. Who shot Green and why remains a mystery. But with his death, there's a trail of grief. Family members and friends finding it hard to understand why scenes like this continue to plague our city communities.
Too much violence everywhere, you know. But I hope it gets better.
You see police just showing up on scene here. A woman tells us they're about to hold a walk for Gerard Green and his family. You heard the major say this is the city's 6th homicide of this year. Strangely enough, today is the same day that last year the city had its 6th
For
homicide.
the first time, a rapper arrested in a violent home invasion. Only NBC4 captured this takedown. Brought it to you live on the news at 5. NBC4's Beverly White live right now in Tarzana with more on who police have in custody and why the victim is still afraid for his life. Beverly.
That's right, Colleen. The LAPD confirms they broke down this gate to reach the 3 men whose arrests we reported exclusively today at 5. Tonight, the alleged victim tells us he's in seclusion for his own safety, and he believes the extreme violence they committed was not random. Rap artist Chief Keef boasts more than 1 million Twitter followers, but today it was LAPD SWAT and not his fans pulling him and 2 others out of this home in Tarzana. NBC4 the only camera rolling as officers moved in. Cops tell us they knew exactly who they were looking for in connection with a brazen attack 7 days ago in an LA neighborhood.
It was a violent home invasion robbery involving firearms and weapons being pointed at victims who were beaten.
Music producer Ramsey the Great went on his Instagram last week to say that robbery victim was him and to ID his attackers.
Yeah, he stole my $1,600, he stole my ring, stole my Rolex. If you think that you could come inside a person's house, home invasion, with a gun, and beat him up.
Ramsey says he once produced for Chief Keef and tonight went back on Instagram after hearing he'd been arrested.
It's Chief Keef's fault if he didn't do this to me. If he didn't run in my crib like that, if he didn't jump me, punch me in my face, rob me, home invasion, he wouldn't be going to jail. This ain't Grand Theft Auto.
Chief Keef, also known as Keith Cozart, has a criminal record. The LAPD releasing no information about likely charges or 2 other men taken in at the same time. We spoke by phone with that producer, Ramsey the Great, this evening. He says Chief Keef should have left that mentality back in Chicago. But he says he's also at a loss for words as to what should happen to his fellow Chicago native
Right now we're just trying to reach out to Devin's biological father. His name is Rudolph Burton. He lives in Gray Court. Lawrence County is assisting us in trying to locate him. We just need to ask him some follow-up questions after they checked with him earlier this morning. Law enforcement has not been able to locate him, and we're just trying to get back in touch with him. So if anybody knows Mr. Burton, we're asking that they would please contact us so we can ask him some more follow-up questions.
Where does the investigation stand right now? What are you guys doing?
Right now it's still the same. We still have search and rescue out here. I think they have provided some drones to go up and assist with the search. The Sheriff's Department ran their bloodhound for us. That was unsuccessful because of the amount of people that we had show up here. Dog couldn't really pick up, but they still ran the track for us. And that's just kind of where we're at right now.
Is that why you were saying you don't want people coming out and trying
Right,
to help?
yes ma'am, because we're just trying to make sure that nobody steps over evidence or anything like that.
Okay. How is the family feeling right now?
They're emotional right now, and I'm not sure where each one is. I think grandfather is still here. I think mother might be with the investigators in the police department.
Okay, and we heard, we had a question about how the timeline, I guess. Did the mother drop him off at the grandfather's house, or does she live here and go out?
Both of them live here. What she reported to 911 and what she reported to our officers when they arrived on scene was that she went out about 3:30, give or take, for some cigarettes. Come back, little Devin's not there. Grandfather was in the house asleep, and they were not able to locate him. She searched for a while, and then we got a phone call about 5:30.
Do you know how long they've been living in this residence?
I want to say, I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say it's been like less than 2 weeks that they've been here.
And who all live there?
From my understanding right now, it was her, Devin, and the grandma.
What did the grandpa say? What did the grandpa say about what happened?
I mean, he's just upset. He's just trying to help find the grandson, too.
What are any problems that you guys are coming into? I know that you said that there are too many people walking around so the dogs couldn't pick up a scent.
Right.
What are some of the other issues that you're encountering?
Right now, that's the biggest thing is there's just been too much to get a good scent track. So now everything is just, it's going to be time consuming because the search and rescue, they're way more knowledgeable about this, but they'll do like large searches, then knock it down to grids, and that just takes time. And unfortunately, on things like this, I mean, we wish it would be sooner than later. Time don't go well for a 2-year-old out in the cold.
And we understand that there's some interesting terrain situations. There's a swamp, there's a river. Can you tell us about that?
You have a gully, a pretty deep gully that's probably less than 200 yards away. There is some swampland around, just different type of terrain like that. And that is very hard to navigate through.
Is it hard? So it's hard for you guys and also for a toddler?
It would be very hard for a toddler. The gully is it's pretty steep, so I mean that's the concern you have about that.
And we heard that there was a mill or a large hole where a mill used to be, and that area was checked.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
I haven't been given that information.
Okay.
So when the kid went missing, the grandfather was the only adult at home?
Yes.
Okay. And do we know, like, was he asleep or?
That's what we're understanding is he was asleep.